Hello, everyone. My name is Mason Payne. I'm an account executive here at Asset Panda, and I'm just making this quick video today to show you a little bit more about the ins and outs when it comes to the features and functionality that Asset Panda Pro, our latest and greatest version of Asset Panda, provides. So I'm going to go ahead and share out my screen. We'll dive on in. Hope you enjoy. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start out with one of our most common use cases, and that is whenever it comes to tracking assets for municipalities, counties, whether that be sheriff's departments, fire departments, IT departments within the county office, right? All of that can be encapsulated within Asset Panda's Pro platform. We actually have a true multi-tenant hierarchy set up to where we can track each and every one of your departments within the county's assets while you remain siloed in your own working space. So it helps keep things a little bit more clean, easy to organize while still having that all hands on deck solution to track your equipment. Today, I'm just going to be focusing on a police department use case. So whenever you log in, it's going to be equipment that's very relative to tracking assets that would be in a police department, right? So whenever you first log in to the web, you'll see each and every asset that we're tracking in its own unique asset record. I have a few radars here, some body armor, some firearms. But the neat thing is that you can track anything that you want to in this account, right? And in your Asset Panda Pro instance, you can easily come in here and add a new field. So if you want to track something that I maybe don't have here, no sweat. Maybe you want to track the next insurance policy expiration. You can do so. And what type of field do you want it to be? Is it text related, date related? Maybe you have a few lists of options that you want to choose from. This one is actually probably going to be best suited for a date. I think that makes most sense. And there it is. Now I can start tracking by that new field that I created. And side note, that's actually a new endpoint via our open API. If you want to push and pull data into there, you can do so as well. I'll go and delete that. And yeah, our main goal here is we want to keep this clean, simple, easy to use, right? That way, if you want to come down here and create saved views on your own, which I've already created some here, for example, you can do so. That way, we're not just looking at a giant list of our assets, but maybe you want to organize it to see something specific, such as this case. Hey, I just want to know what available firearms do we have and where are they at? Okay, well, let's look at the ARs, and within the AR, we can see that they're in the armory, and how many do we have in each one of these lockers? Okay, well, what about the shotguns? Right? Clear as day for you to come in here and easily access that data that you need to see for firearms. You do the same thing for maybe the equipment that's assigned out to the officers. Because just like you have a list of all your assets in Asset Panda, you'll have a list of all your officers or staff, personnel that we can allocate equipment to. You can see what each one of them have. That way, if they are offboarding, we know what to expect back. Maybe from a more of a kind of keeping up with calibration, maintenance, and dates specifically, we want to be able to see, hey, what body armor needs to be replaced within the next 60 days. Very common use case that we see with counties where they have maybe not trouble keeping track of it, but it's not as efficient and they aren't as on top of it as they should be. Asset Panda allows you to make sure it's right up front and center and that you have no chance at overlooking it. All the new body armor is up to date. Also, we can track inventory levels. So ammo, for example, hey, I want to know how many I have on hand. And whenever I'm running low, we can let you receive notifications whenever it's time to re-up on any supplies, not just ammo. That's the only example I have to provide for you at the moment. You can also take this ammo and assign it out to squad cars, individuals that want to have it in their possession for their personal inventory. And then even whenever it comes to like radar calibration, that's another big use case that we can help with, making sure that all the radars are up to date. And if not, again, we have processes for making sure that everything is tuned up. And whenever it comes to those processes, so any stage of your workflow or any scenarios that your assets go through throughout their life cycle there, we take those and reflect those in what we call custom forms in Asset Panda. And again, this is just kind of a list of forms that I see used here often on a daily basis whenever it comes to police departments, but you get to create your own. So very straightforward one. Hey, I want to issue out assets. We just had a new officer join the county department, and we need to give them some body armor. Okay, what else do we need to give them? You need firearms. What firearms are we going to give them? Maybe a radar. And also, you have access to the mobile application, which is available on Android or iOS Apple based devices. Right now, I'm just checking off these boxes, but you could actually use our mobile app to scan the barcodes on any of this equipment and do so from the mobile on the fly. But I'll go ahead and say I'm going to give them these two items. And then who do I want to issue it out to? Like I said, we have that list of your personnel here to choose from. Benjamin there. And whenever I run that form, I submit that. What happens in Asset Panda? Another really important part is that you get to dictate those workflow rules. So in this case, I just have automations, is what we call them in the background, that automatically update specific values for that asset. It'll update that status as asset to assigned. It will attach Benjamin's name to those items. We can even have an email notification trigger to be sent out, letting Benjamin know what they were issued so that there is no miscommunication on what we're expecting back. Right? Same thing whenever it comes for radars with forms, right? Or any calibration or maintenance that you want to do. I can come down here to my radar calibration form and I can see, hey, there's a list of all the assets that are, due for calibration. It's been, within 30, they're coming up within 30 days. So whether, you're doing this on an officer's behalf or the officer is doing it themselves, we can come in here and we can select which radar we're going to be doing calibration on. And I created this form. This is just a sample form. You may have more specifics that you're wanting to implement in here, completely fine. But just from a foundational standpoint, maybe I want to see if the power on test was completed. If so, did it work? Yes or no, right? You get to create these conditional formats for these forms. And then you can have your own terms and conditions, capture signatures as well if you like. And that way, when we run this form, I have automations in the back that will automatically update that next calibration due date for this item so that it will be removed from this radar calibration form due date, like you just saw that being taken off. And every time we're running one of these forms, it's going to create a history for us. So I can come here and I can see, hey, I want to see in the past all the radars that have been calibrated and what were the results of those. Right, there's a history of all of that, and you can parse this down if you'd like, and that way you have a report just to refer back to at any point in time that you like, a library of reports. And also, since we're aggregating all this data, we have dashboards where you can come here and just get that quick visual representation of your asset information that you're wanting to look at without having to do a whole lot of surfing around. Hey, this is how many body armors that we have to replace. Here's our stock levels. Now, as I mentioned, you can really track whatever you'd like to in Asset Panda, and you have the full ability to come in here and make these changes and modifications at any time that you like. And for example, maybe you want to track insurance policies. I kind of hinted at that example earlier, but what you could do is you come in here and create a new collection and leverage our new Ursa AI tool. I'll call it insurance policy collections. And then we get to tell Ursa how we want to fill out this collection. So I could say, I'm tracking insurance policies that are tied to my assets. I want to know when they expire so I can make sure I don't overlook them. Whenever I do that, it's going to not only automatically create that collection, but give me a lot of fields that are probably something that I would want to know if I don't already know about my insurance policies that I'll be tracking. So I'll just go ahead and say, hey, I'll create all these. Whenever I do that, there's my new insurance policies collection. Okay, well, let's come in here. And look, there's all those fields that it created for us. And then we can link our assets to these insurance policies. So where we log in as a Panda, and now we have a bird's eye view of what assets are tied to what policies. And that's not something that we have to shuffle through spreadsheets for anymore, or go through antiquated systems, siloed systems. That's what we get you off of. Now, I do want to show you the mobile application, which is available, as I mentioned, on Android or iOS-based devices. So I'll pull that up here. So here we have the Asset Panda mobile application. Again, available on Android or iOS. So whenever you download it, you'll use the same username and login credentials that you use to access the web. But now we can use Asset Panda on the fly. You don't always have to be sitting next to a computer. And it'll work pretty much the same way. So a very common use case whenever you log in is to come down here and run the forms. That's where a lot of our users, daily users, live, is in these forms. To where if I want to again come down here, maybe just issue out an asset. Pretty simple example. There's a list of all my assets, just like I could see on the web. Except now I don't have to flip this list or do any manual entry. I can just tap this QR code down here, that green button, and that's going to take me to turn my mobile application into a scanner. And I can do more than one if I'd like, but it'll go ahead and then bring me to that next stage in the form. Does this look familiar? It should, right? It's the same as the web interface. Who am I issuing it out to? And they're good to go. Now they have the ability to see everything that they are assigned to from the mobile app, assign equipment out from the mobile application, do their radar calibration from the mobile app, and everything will be updated real time for you to see that from the web interface side. And also another note is that we do have an auditing tool to where if you wanted officers to go and perhaps audit the equipment that is uh, in their fleet or that they're responsible for keeping up with, right? We can have this list that shows exactly what they need to be scanning. And whenever they go through on the mobile app and they scan one of those equipments that's assigned to them in this audit, it'll automatically check that off. And I'm doing this from the web, but you can do the same thing from the mobile app. It'll show who scanned it, when they scanned it, and then you can easily come in here and organize this list to show what has been completed and scanned and accounted for, and what hasn't been scanned and accounted for. Or maybe they found some new items that we didn't even know we had. You'd be surprised how often that happens. We can account for those newly created items, or maybe items that weren't supposed to be audited are in the database, but we still accounted for anyway. So again, this just kind of helps make sure that nothing's falling off the radar on us, and if it is, we can be proactive rather than reactive. So that's kind of a quick high-level ABC's view of Asset Panda relative to a sheriff's department use case. I hope you enjoyed this time. If you have any questions, please reach out to our team via the website, book a demo. I'd love to have some time to chat with you about how we can improve your asset management processes, and I hope you have a great day.